Good morning, angels, mommies, and daddies. Um, there's something really important I want to talk to you guys about this morning, and this is for all parents that are in the grips of feeling deep, deep, deep pain from grief. My name is Amy Fulmer. My son died June 1st of 2019. So, yes, I'm one of you. I'm an angel mom, and I'm here this morning to talk about something that's very, very important because the premise of this podcast is you can't hack, you can't find a hack to get out of the pain, okay? Because if there was, I would have found it. There's no hacks, but there's help. And I want you to know that the premise of this podcast is to help you every day with tiny increments of things that worked for me. Because as an angel parent, we all share the same pain. Now, bear in mind that grief is grief. So these principles can be universally shared across multiple types of death, notably the death of a pet, extraordinarily painful. And each of these pains, whether it's a child or an animal or a parent or a sibling, carries a unique place in your heart where that pain is exhibiting itself and storing itself. So, something I was thinking about this morning on my journey, I'm 12 years in now to my grief walk. And, oh, sorry, you guys, that's my phone. I'm going to have to ignore that. Um, I am getting thrown off on that. You know what? Hold on just a second. Let me go get my phone off. Hold on. Okay, you guys, I'm really sorry. I didn't mean to do that. I didn't want to stop and start this video because I don't want to lose my train of thought. My apologies for that interruption. When you are feeling grief, whether it's brand new grief from the recent loss of a child, and you're in the shock and awe and body blow phases, or your grief has taken on what I'm going to call a more mature tone, such as mine. Each phase requires a certain understanding because, as I said before, in all of my work, if you don't deal with your grief, and I don't care what area of grief it's in, it could be loss of a job, loss of a marriage. Sorry, you guys, those are my cats. All hell is breaking loose here this morning. I really apologize, but I've got to get this message out to you. So sorry. I each stage of grief carries with it a different journey, but if you don't deal with each phase, it compounds and it metastasizes, and then you're going to get sick. Okay, I'm going to talk about that later. But what I want to focus on this morning is something that sounds very, very simple, but it's so profound and it worked for me. When you are feeling pain from grief, there's 4 things I want you to think about, and it sounds very ethereal, but it's so true. Sometimes the simplest thoughts or remedies can give you some grief relief. And remember, we are aiming for a drop of grief relief. When you're in pain, if you get a little bit of relief, it compounds itself. And this is the only way you're going to make it on your journey. So there's 4 natural sanctuaries. One is silence, one is solitude, one is stillness, and one is simplicity. Okay? Let me say those again. There are 4 natural sanctuaries: silence, solitude, stillness, and simplicity. So you might say to me, well, Amy, what does a sanctuary have to do with grief? I'm in pain. My child's died. I've got other children. I've got a life to lead. I've got to go to work. I've got a house to clean. I've got meals to pay, bills to pay. I've got meals to cook. I've got laundry to do, on and on and on. Okay, so let's have a hard stop here. When I started to understand that if I didn't deal with my grief after my son died, and I was running my business at the time, I had a lot of responsibilities and I couldn't cope. I craved those. It was very odd. I craved a quiet sanctuary. I craved silence. I craved solitude and stillness. Now, what I didn't know back then was those are the pillars to help you process and feel your way through your pain. Pain is a corporeal, bodily manifestation. Grief hits the heart and then it explodes out into the body. And then it lodges in certain areas. It lodges in your heart. It lodges in your hips. It lodges in your lower back. It lodges in your chest. And when you employ or deploy any of these sanctuaries, it could be one of four. Okay, so let's just take simplicity. When your mind is grieving, it actually looks different under a brain scan. That's what I've been told scientifically. Now, there's a lot more new evidence to support that since the time my son died, but they show that grieving brains actually show up on a brain scan very different. But simplicity. I urge all parents or anybody grieving to really think long and hard where you can add some silence, some solitude, some stillness, and some simplicity to your life. Now, bear in mind, when you're in pain, you're going to want to run. See, the last thing you're going to want to do is sit with it. It's too much. I couldn't sit still for a second after my son died. I lived in West Los Angeles at the time, and I walked around West Los Angeles for months. I would leave my house at 6 o'clock in the morning because I couldn't take the pain. I couldn't sit in my body, and I would walk for hours. I didn't know where I was going. I didn't know what I was doing. I walked so hard for so long that I actually broke an ankle. I fractured my ankle. But after I got through that, I realized if I had just sat and breathed and understood that it's okay to be still, it's okay to sit down with your family. Maybe you've got siblings, maybe this was one of your children, and say, listen, you guys, we have to cope with this, and I'm going to keep life simple. We're not going to do trips to Disneyland. We're not going to do, everybody's getting a different meal every night. We're going to simplify our family routine if maybe you just did that. Or let's say you're at work and you're having a lot of pain, and normally you might work through your lunch break, or you may go run an errand, or you may go talk with a coworker at lunch. Maybe you want to go out into your car. Maybe your car becomes your sanctuary and you just want to sit in silence and cry. I want you guys to understand that these four natural sanctuaries, the silence, the solitude, the stillness, and the simplicity, are going to be requirements for you to start to heal one tiny step at a time, because it's cumulative. You will never, ever, ever, ever heal your heart entirely in this lifetime, okay? I believe, first of all, I'm 12 years in, and I don't ever see my heart being normal again, ever, 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 ever. My heart is held together with spit and glue. The fact I made it this far is a miracle from God. But the truth is once you start to just take one baby step. And that's what this podcast is all about. This podcast is not me coming on here and saying, oh, mommy and daddy, so listen, you're going to give it 10 years and you're fine. No, you're never fine. Let me tell you, you are never, ever fine. Yes, you will laugh. Yes, you will love. Yes, you're going to feel joy. You're going to cry tears of joy and you're going to cry tears of sorrow. And at some point, you're going to find some beauty, if you're lucky, in what happened. Because I'm going to leave you with this thought. I didn't really understand this until my son died, but, love is a bond that transverses all timelines. When we leave our bodies, and I'm not getting religious, please don't go there, okay? We're not doing that in this podcast. Everyone can think what they want to think about when the time comes to leave this earth plane, but I think we can all agree at some point we leave this earth plane. It has been my experience through my work that when we go, we take nothing with us, as you guys know. We don't take our body, we don't take our ego, we don't take our possessions, we don't take our money. Your child, no matter how young or old, when they left, they only left with your love, okay? That's all they took with them. They couldn't take anything else. If it was a child or a baby, they can't take their toy. They don't even take their illness. If it's an older person, like in the case of my son who died of a drug overdose, he doesn't take those drugs with him. He doesn't take that riddled body. The only thing they take that sustains is your love with your child. And that is the eternal bond. And that's a beautiful thing. So if you can implement one of the sanctuaries and just get a little tiny bit of relief, then in my opinion, you're a hero. You guys are heroes, all of you. So I'm going to close out today. Please, please, please like, subscribe, and share this video. In the description, you're going to find a link to my parent survival checklist. This work has been studied and downloaded in over 70 countries. My book, Don't Trip a Tater Chip, is available on Amazon. It's a kind of like an autobiography of what happened. It started the night my son died. That also is filled with the details of my journey. So that is also something that is available to you. It is available on, e-copy, like Kindle kind of a thing. I do not have an audio now, an audio book. I started it, then I stopped it, but we also have the paperback. So I really love you guys. My heart knows your heart, okay? And I'm going to be probably putting out a couple of podcasts a week. They're going to be short, they're going to be simple, and they're here for you as a way to heal yourself. Okay, you guys, take care. Bye.